So Patricia, if
Oh,
if you can introduce yourself of who you are and what you do, and your relationship to me, I guess, if you like.
Sure. Well, welcome. Thank you, gentlemen, for having me. I'm super grateful. All right. My name's Patricia. I born and raised in Toronto. Um, I guess you could say I'm a creative person. I'm an artist. I always creating, whether that be music or courses or anything that awakens my talent and I can feel like I'm being creative. That's just my fuel for life. So, in saying that, I've always had a bit of a different path. I've always walked the path less traveled because of my imagination. So, I'm a yoga instructor and I would say a relaxation therapist and or some actually I've heard a multi-disciplinary and therapeutic facilitator.
Oh, interesting.
So yeah, isn't that a nice one?
That's a nice one.
Multidisciplinary therapeutic facilitator.
Mm-hmm.
Hello.
It's a nice title.
So yeah, so I'm an actor and I'm also a yoga instructor and a meditation guide and a relaxation therapist. So this is what takes up most of my time. This is how I pay my bills, how I live my life. It's my way of being. So yeah, and how do I know you, Mo? We grew up in Malvern. I grew up in Scarborough, let's say that. I met you in Malvern, Mo, and I believe it
That
was
was
just
probably
San
like how long ago? 14 years ago?
Yeah, that's a long wow. Whew,
Gosh, I
yeah.
think it was 14 years ago. Yeah.
And I think it was just energy that had us meet, and which is always how my teachers have come into my life. I always meet my teachers through energy. So yeah, and then we started to chat, and I think, we may have been at different parts of our spiritual journeys, but I realize when you're on a spiritual journey, you're both at the same place. There's kind of this like you're both seekers, I'll put it that way. So I kind of feel like we were both really seeking and learning new things. And I think you were really broadened. You had been enlightened. You were sharing things with me that I couldn't even fathom or visualize. I remember at that time you sharing things with me that I was just like, what
Oh, it was
is
crazy.
right? But at the same time, I'm one of those people that I have always attracted spiritual guides and clairvoyance. So I always had people that I would meet in my life that would tell me about me that I never met in my life before. I'd never even known these people. And the one of the very first teachers like that, who's very much like you, he said it's like a bee looking for the right flower. That's what he
Mm.
said. There's bees buzzing, and eventually you come to the right flower, and you dive, and that's how he said he would always meet people like myself. So I think it was kind of like that with you. It's just we kind of just connected that we were on a path of seeking, and again, yeah, you were sharing a lot of, and I think I didn't question as much then, so when I met you, it definitely opened a gateway of what is that, like what is that. So
Mm.
I truly believe like all of these things are a part of my conditioning, why I am where I am today. you know I couldn't be here without you. I couldn't, it's just a part of it. So
Oh, wow.
that's me.
Oh, that's really cool though. That's really cool. I just express. I don't, I just do whatever. And if it touches someone, it does. If it doesn't, because many people it doesn't touch, right? You just keep it moving. Just keep it moving. Like Nathan, I haven't touched this guy yet.
that sounds so wrong.
I didn't even mean it that way. That's just ugh. Now when I think about it, take it all back. But you're right. But still, I haven't touched yet, so that's a good thing.
Yes.
Right? That's a good thing. So,
Out here touching people. Nah, I haven't touched Nathan yet. I'm gonna get him though. I'm gonna get him one day. One day.
I just haven't touched your soul or whatever. I didn't know what I was trying to do. I can always just cut that.
Oh, that's a good moment. That's a good moment. That's the Enlighten Up right there.
That's
You see,
Enlighten Up right there. That's hilarious. Yeah, that was a little awkward for a second there, Nathan. Thanks for calling it out.
Yes.
Touching souls. Touching souls.
Touching souls, that's it. Touching souls. That's really cool. That's really cool. Before we started recording, because there's so much that I want to ask you and things that we can talk about, but before we started recording, I was just talking about how much I hate drinking water. Like, this always shocks people. It's like, how can you hate drinking water? I was like, I'm sorry, it's just how I feel about water. Right? But I found a method to help me drink more water, because I know water is needed. Of course, I have to drink water, right? But I found a method that is able for me to drink more water. But I'm hearing from Patricia right now that 8 glasses of water, is it needed? Is that for like the average person, or what is that? If you can go into more detail with that.
I used to live by that a lot. Yeah, I used to really live by that. I would have like I do now. I still keep a big jug of water with me all the time. But I recently found this woman online, and she has been offering holistic nutrition lectures and groups and workshops. Anyways, I don't know how she came about, but I found one of her videos where she talks about how the amount of water we're drinking is still not actually getting into the cell.
Not getting into the cell. Okay.
So all this water, this is why we're retaining water, or sometimes you can drink water and it's just you can almost, I used to hear it in my belly. If I moved, I would just hear the water sitting there. So she said a lot of it has to do with our salt intake, and this is what I've really been learning from her. So she says, and she says Celtic salt is actually, I don't know why my map is, oh, something's telling me about my calories. Okay, so
or just the water intake, that's all.
The water. But anyway, so what she does, she talks about Celtic salt, and she says it's the best salt for us to ingest because it has the most minerals in it. There's like 80 odd minerals in Celtic salt. So she says what she does to get the water into our actual cells, which is going to rehydrate us, she takes maybe a pinch, maybe take a couple, like if there were like sea salt, the coarse ones, that you have to grind, she would take a few of those, maybe 5 or 6 of them, and put them on her tongue and wait for your cells and everything to start, because salt will wake up all your cells. It'll wake up that membrane. It'll wake it up so that you'll feel your mouth starting to saliva, all it's the salivate, right? You'll feel all of that awakening. And what you're doing is you're opening the cell. And then
so is it awakening the cells of your tongue, or talking about awakening the cells of your whole body?
In your body,
okay.
Right? And she says what she does, and then she'll drink a half a cup of water after. So she said anytime she drinks water, she takes salt first so that the water gets into our actual cells. And it's the truth. I will not drink water without salt again, ever.
But you just took a sip. I didn't take salt.
I had some just before.
Oh, okay. I was trying to see if I can get you on something. Okay.
I even keep a little container now, like a little cup of salt, so that when I go to have salt, and you know what I've noticed why I don't, and she says 8 is too much. And this is what I've noticed. Every time I do it, within 10 minutes, I feel so refreshed.
Oh, for real?
And like my thirst was quenched. I didn't even realize I was thirsty.
Huh.
And I won't need more water again for a while. I'm talking about maybe an hour, 2 hours. I won't need another sip of water. Whereas before, if you're drinking 8 cups of water a day, you're drinking all day.
All day, yeah.
You're drinking it all day.
Just
but what she says is that water is not getting into the cell. So that's why we constantly feel like we need to be I swear, try it for 3 days.
I'll try.
And just use your regular salt. Just use regular salt.
Just use regular salt and try it, and it'll still work to at least a small degree.
Yep.
Really?
And the name of the salt again is what? The one
she says to use is Celtic salt.
Celtic salt.
It's like $23. It's expensive. It's on Amazon. It's like $20 a bag.
Jeez, you can't say the water I can buy with that.
Exactly.
Wait, you can't say Celtic salt.
Celtic salt. I can't. No, I can't. No.
You shit on me for not being able to pronounce guru names.
You can't say. Yeah, I guess you're right. But I was about to get you on that. It's like Paramahamsa Vishwananda, Ramana Maharshi is a lot harder than Celtic salt. Yeah, I get it. But
man.
Oh, yeah, whatever. Yeah. Your worst enemy is your memory. Like, man.
Exactly. True.
Celtic salt. The two words I can't. Yeah, Celtic salt. I gotta pause.
Okay.
Say it, Nathan.
Celtic salt.
No. Paramahamsa Vishwananda. Say it, buddy.
You got me there. There's so many Paramahamsa. I don't know. So many shit. I can't. It's hard.
Now you feel superior. You can say Celtic salt, eh?
A little bit. Yeah.
Good. Man.
I'm gonna send you the video on IG
send me the video
of this woman. I'm gonna send it to her. Her stuff is incredible. Like, it's incredible.
What's her name?
Talks about magnesium, potassium, sodium. I don't even know her name. I just believe the retreat space is called Living Retreat Center or something like that. It's fantastic.
That's interesting stuff. I'll look into that, because I've seen other things that when they're talking about just regular salts and the benefits of regular salts when you use it in combination with other things like water and things of that sort. But this is interesting. I'll have to look into that. Yeah. Any questions about that, Nathan?
How
many glasses?
I drink 2 liters. I drink 2 liters a day, and I just force it down. It's like, because I try to work out, so I try to find ways to, like, because I don't like water all the time too either. But I just,
I was about to shit on me for not liking water.
Yeah.
I felt it. I felt like you were gonna shit on me. I felt it.
But I heard, like, Gatorade is, you can drink as much Gatorade as you want and not like drown or whatever. Like, you can drink enough water to the point where you can drown yourself.
Okay.
Yes, you can drown your kidneys. You have to be very careful, because the kidneys are what balance all the fluids in the body, right? From the adrenals to the lymph nodes. And so you can, and the element, interesting, in traditional Chinese medicine, is the element for the kidney is water. So you do have to be very careful that you don't drown your kidneys. Truth. Very true. That's why you hear a lot of people with blood pressure, they have to take water pills and all those things. And it's to help the kidney, replenish and help those fluids move and stuff like that. It's very interesting.
And I also like, how much water is too much water, and how much, because I know we're all different, right? And like, because if you drink too much water a day, it can actually hurt your kidneys, right? So like, it's just like, what's the best amount of water that you should drink? That's my question.
I say start drinking the salt, and you're going to notice that you don't need nearly as much water as you think you do.
Is it because the salt takes up the water or something? Like, is it like
the salt actually
because it
gets
absorbs water
in your body's cells? We drink water to rehydrate our cells. It's supposed to, replenish the whole body, right? But I think there's this, like, and it's true, I can just say it for myself, I don't know all the terms, but I would drink water and I could tell it wasn't going where it was supposed to go. It was just sitting there. I could just feel it sitting. And if I'd move, I would hear it. To me, that's not right. That means it's not getting into my stomach. Maybe it's not getting into the bloodstream, something. I find with the salt, it's gone. It's not there anymore. Like, it goes to where it has to go. Sorry.
Nathan, you can't just wait. Like,
I'm trying to.
What you need to say? You're just trying to.
It's like
deepen, bro. Like, just always budding. It's like, let the man talk, let the woman talk. Just, jeez.
It's like double dutch. You never know. It's on Zoom. You gotta wait for your turn. It's like, no, okay, I can't. All right, my turn. Sure. I don't know. It's like I was fuck. Fuck. Well, is it? My question is it us or maybe or is it the water? Like, is it our diet that, or is it our gut health, or like is it the water that we're drinking that's maybe not absorbable? You know, like I
Yeah,
don't
I
know.
think that's a really
Hmm.
good point too. Absolutely. I think that has everything to do with it too. It not a lot of it being the water we're drinking, for sure. I'm gonna send you the videos. I'm telling you, you're gonna all these questions you're asking, she's gonna answer.
Okay,
Yeah, he'll interrupt her too somehow. I don't know how he'll do it, but he'll find a way.
I'll just pause her. Hey,
Yeah, yeah. So by the way, so keep pausing, eh? I got something to say.
That's amazing.
That's hilarious. Yeah, only Nathan, only Nathan. No, this is really good information. But every time I talk to Patricia, she always has something to deliver, which is always like all the stuff that I never cover. Like you always bring something that's not in my circle of knowledge. I was like, oh, yeah, I should look into that a little bit and all that, which is really, really cool. Interesting, interesting. Um, Patricia, what's been going on with because you're as you said, you're a creator. You create programs, courses, and things of that sort. What's next on the agenda in regards to the courses that you teach online? In regards to you're teaching yoga nidra, right? Or are you just teaching yoga?
I'm teaching yoga nidra, so I'm certifying. I also created, there's an aspect of yoga nidra, sankalpa, which you know about,
Mm-hmm.
the resolve, our life's mustard seed. That's what I like to call it.
Mustard seed. That's a good one.
Um, I created a sub course, um, how to create a lasting sankalpa. I've been doing a lot of yin these days, so I'm actually thinking of creating a 40-hour yin teacher training. And that's what we would talk about, a lot of the body stuff, like we just talked about the kidneys and the elements and the seasons and all of that stuff. So, I'm kind of, if it's one thing I've learned, Mo, and then this is where I just kind of have to be patient with myself as well with offerings, is like, Yoga Nidra is a very specialized course. So it's a calling. All of this work is a calling.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like yoga where anyone can just decide today I want to do a teacher training. I want to do a 200-hour teacher training whether I teach or not. You know, this is yoga nidra is a little different. So it definitely calls people when they're at a certain part of their journey,
Mm.
and then I find at that point that's when I am needed, so
So how do you because I find the same way with some of the stuff I teach. It's not stuff that they can just grab the general public and they pay their money to join. It's a calling, right? And so you're kind of just waiting for people to have these callings. So
yes.
how do you do your marketing and branding based on that? Because that's a very hard way. It's a challenging way to continue services when they require some form of money to put these things together. You know what I mean? And time and effort, right?
I think what helps me is
See,
because
Nathan's ready to butt again. Like
I know
you
what.
got to speak just just quick today, bro. Like just
At
quick.
least he used his finger. At
His
least
finger
he
like
put it up.
hold on, Nathan. Hold on, we'll get you in there.
Oh my gosh, I love
He's
you
been, you know what it
guys.
is? He's been watching the videos and he's seeing how many times he's cut out his stuff. So he's trying to find ways to get in there. He's like, yo, I need more stage time. Just get a don't worry, Nathan. I feel you, bro. I feel you. Keep putting up your
Nathan,
finger, bro.
is the question added on to Mo? Is it an
An
extension of?
extension of what I just said.
Yeah, I can wait. I can wait.
Okay.
See,
All
I
right.
thought so.
Sorry. I think I'm fortunate in the sense, Mo, that I'm constantly in the yoga community.
What's
You know,
that? Oh, the yoga community. Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
constantly in the yoga community. It's what I do. So I'm constantly around new teachers and graduates and people who are just curious more than anything. I'm constantly around people who are curious.
Mm.
So it's also too, what I'm also learning though with this work, when it comes to marketing, is I gotta trust that there's a timing for things. I realize these courses aren't something that I can do every year at this time, at this, you know what I mean? It's not one of those kind of things. I've just gotta,
Oh,
I gotta kind of feel my way through it. I used to try to force it, and then, there wouldn't be any signups, or maybe there would only be two. And, you don't want to run a course with only two people signed up. You want to have at least four,
yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So I've just learned to trust when that energy comes to, like, I know this, I'm going to offer it again. I believe at the end of the year, I'm going to offer it again. But it's kind of like that. I don't have a formula. I don't. It's just talk about it, be about it, and that will attract who needs it.
No, it's interesting too, because I got used to your kind of routine. I was waiting, like January came around. I was, oh yeah, this is where Patricia calls me in to come and do a guest speaking
Yes.
thing at one of your classes. And it's like, oh, I looked online and said, I don't think she has one coming up yet. Oh, okay. Maybe it's coming up some other time.
Yeah,
Yeah, that makes
just,
sense.
yeah, so we'll see. Well, and I mean, I'll be honest too, I was a part of a few, so many changes with the pandemic, so many studios closed, and people lost so much, that we had at that time when we were doing it, we had a really good momentum because things were steady and people were studying and could afford to, and they got used to being virtual and loving that idea of being virtual and learning that way. Now we're kind of going through that shift again where it's like, do they want to be virtual, but do they want to be in person? But I've also realized from my course, I'd rather do it virtual because it's such a contemplative course. I would hate for someone to drive home contemplating. You know what I'm saying? So
Okay.
it's better to offer it in a space where they feel safe, where if they can just sit and cry. I've left people, I say bye and they're just crying.
Mm. I've seen that too in your classes. Yeah, people crying.
So
Yeah,
how dare I bring them out in the public? They're a mess. You know,
like Nathan is dying back there. He's like, you see his face right now? He's dying back there. He's got to say something. Okay, Nathan, jump in. Sit
go
down
ahead,
this
Mo.
way, bro.
Go,
Can't hold it
Nathan.
any longer.
So, just can you imagine? Just like, all right, well, later. Click.
I mean, the person's yeah, when they need help in that moment, support.
Terrible.
But
I'm
I need
being
help.
serious. You know the work, Mo. You know what it is. You
Oh
guys
yeah.
know.
Oh yeah.
It's confronting.
Do meditation sessions with a group, and there's always that one person who just falls apart.
What
Yeah,
is?
and I'm like, oh gosh, how do I help this person in this moment? In those cases, I'm glad I had an assistant who were able to take care of it, so I can continue with the sessions. But there's always either a person who falls apart emotionally, or someone who has like a spiritual experience in that moment, and they're running around saying, "Oh my God, oh," and you're like, "What the? I did not know that was going to happen with that particular person." Yeah, but they happen. I've seen some really really cool stuff
Yes.
in group sessions. Yeah. Okay, Nathan,
Nathan,
you have your finger up again.
Nathan,
Go ahead, buddy.
This is the question I want to ask before. What is yoga?
Yoga Nidra.
Yeah, what is that? What
Okay,
is it?
yoga nidra means yogic sleep. So it's the art of conscious relaxation.
Yeah, Nathan,
Okay.
you're kind of doing it right now.
Yeah.
You're halfway there.
Have you practiced yoga before, Nathan?
Yeah, I never really liked it. I always felt like I was giving birth for like an hour. I don't know why. That's why I know it's ignorant. I know, but maybe I just never had the right teacher or the right person doing it.
If you were giving birth for an hour, you had the right
Yeah,
teacher.
you had the right teacher. That's a good thing.
You had the right teacher, bro. Okay. that is probably
teacher.
one of the best ways to describe a yoga experience I've heard in a long time.
Yeah, hit it right on the nose.
But you know what I heard? Like every woman who gives birth never likes the doctor that they have or the nurse. You ever know about that? Like maybe
I've heard that.
I don't know. So I don't know.
I've heard that
from teacher. The real teacher in the birth is the child, right? The baby. That's the teacher in the birth. you know, so there's no point focusing on the doctor or the nurse. Focus on the baby. That's the
It's on the
teacher.
baby.
It's going to teach everybody in that moment.
What else
All
can
right.
you what else can you tell? Sorry, now I'm cutting people off. Sorry, my apologies. What else can you tell Nathan about Yoga Nidra?
Yes.
How that works.
So, you know, the best way for me to describe it, why I asked you if you've ever practiced yoga before, because if you have practiced yoga before, then you've experienced a shavasana, which is corpse pose, dead man's pose, that you just lie down at the end of the practice on your back, and that's how you end the practice. Yoga Nidra starts there. Yoga Nidra starts at shavasana. So why it isn't so popular, it's only now becoming popular, but why it isn't so popular in the West is because the West is all about money and consumerism. So there's really no time to spend or to do a whole other practice after a yoga practice. There's no time, right?
Oh,
Because
good point.
the next class has to start, right? So you're lucky if you get a 5-minute shavasana. You know, my classes, there's no shavasana less than 7 minutes, right? You need to integrate all of that, right? So Yoga Nidra starts there. And I like to call it the bridge of meditation. It's the bridge of meditation in the sense that it gives you an opportunity to get a glimpse of the other states of consciousness without your ego, so that you can actually have an experience of what it is to be without your ego. And when you learn that, you know, that's just a mild way of putting it. But when you learn that, then you would sit up after Shavasana. So you'd go into Shavasana, you'd have a yoga practice, you'd go into Shavasana, you'd practice Yoga Nidra lying on your back. And coming out of Yoga Nidra now, you would sit up and now practice meditation. Because you see that, Mo?
That's okay. Okay.
Right?
You sit up and then you do the
Then you would practice.
Okay.
But what's happening is people are practicing yoga, awakening all of this chi, and then meditating. But when the chi is awakened, the ego is still present, right? And at that point, most people are controlled by their egos. They identify with the ego. So you're practicing meditation from the ego's point of view, not from an actual from a place of awareness or that point of view, or just consciousness. You understand what I'm saying?
You're not from the point of the empty witness.
That's right.
Yeah.
Right? You're practicing with something that knows it all, which is your ego. You know, Yoga Nidra gives you an opportunity to get into the subtle states of yourself, get into the deeper, the subtle body. You know, the ego is in the gross body. It's in this body. It's in the world body, right? Yoga Nidra gives you an opportunity to put the ego to sleep for a little bit and start using your mind in different ways in these other states, so that when you do now go to meditate, you've awakened a witness, someone, something. You know, you've awakened the what rather than the who of you.
The what rather than the who. I like that.
You know, we're all identifying with the who, you know, but we also haven't learned how to use our egos properly, so that the who is also the what. You get what I'm saying? You know what I mean? Too often we're just relying on what we think we know, you know, rather than really questioning all of this stuff. So Yoga Nidra just kind of gives you that opportunity to take all of this chi that you've awakened and use your mind in a different way. And really the different way is just putting the ego to sleep, getting into your subtle body, starting. It's like you're seeing yourself for the first time again. You know, you're seeing yourself stripped of what you think you know. So that this way, when you do meditate, it's a little, it's palatable. I think people are really frustrated and overwhelmed. And I speak to people all the time. I just had a conversation with someone on Saturday at the party that I got the food poisoning.
Oh yeah, a week ago.
Right. Right. he was talking to me about his meditation practice. And I think what's happening too is so many people are practicing without a guide to start, you know, and what you're not at that point, it's like your ego becomes your guide. It's like the wrong thing becomes the guide, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So he's talking to me about meditation and he just talking about God. And it's like, okay, God, you're the God. This is what, you know, everyone thinks like meditation is going to make me a God.
Make me a God. Yeah.
You know, imagine going into a meditation practice with that.
That's Nathan. Always like, he always hitting me
No,
up. Yo, when do I get powers? When do I
That's
become a
lot.
God? I'm like, God, you're a God right now.
Never said that.
I know I didn't. I just made that up. I thought you were gonna roll with it, bro.
I want number 4. What kind of shit is this?
Yeah. I thought you were gonna roll with it. But you did hit me up about the powers thing and say, yo, there's all these people that come on the show have powers. Where's my power?
Oh yeah,
You did
that
say
is true.
that. All
That is
that other
true.
stuff I was kind of boosting still. Sorry.
But does
Sorry.
that make sense, Nathan?
Yeah. I still want to fly though. But yeah, it makes sense.
You still
Makes
what?
sense. I still want to be like Spider-Man and fly, whatever powers come, I want. But like, you know, it makes sense. Yeah, I get what you're saying.
What would it serve you if you had these powers? Like, what would you do? Like, what's the purpose? How would it serve you?
Why, like, you get to work earlier? Like, you know, it's like, wouldn't you want to swing on buildings and fly and teleport and read people's minds? And no,
Yeah. So now
I'm the only one.
just imagine if you realize that you are God.
I already knew. I know that, but like,
You
I
don't
still
know
want to
that. You know
fly.
that intellectually. That's not what I'm talking about here. If you actually realize who you actually are as God, and God is doing all those things, it's the bird, it's the insect, it's the monkey swinging off the tree, it's the tree itself, it's the air that you breathe, all of that. Why would any of that matter if you realize who you actually are, or what you are?
I'm trying to kill my dreams, man. I just want to fly, man. Just let me fly. Just let me fly.
If you want to fly, you should practice yoga nidra. You will definitely
Go
fly.
Okay.
So yeah, so you know, it's, you know, I have people say to me that they stop practicing yoga nidra because it's a very emotional practice for them.
Sorry,
And
they stopped practicing because of the very emotional practice, and they
yes,
didn't want to tap into their emotions.
yes,
Interesting. I believe that's coming from more men than women.
no, women.
Oh, interesting.
Really? What?
I know this
Wow.
is unheard of.
Because like, it's
I think what happens is, you know, it's one thing. Okay, so just for myself, really quickly, just to give you some more idea, Nathan. You know, when I was probably in my 3rd year of teaching, maybe third or yeah, and I went to, no, actually, I was probably in my 1st year of teaching. Actually, I went to Montreal. I took a yoga class. I was there for a weekend. I took a yoga class. At the end, it said vinyasa, 60 minutes, but then in the bracket, it said 15 minutes of yoga nidra. I didn't know what that was, but I just knew that I wanted the vinyasa class. So, and I was at that time where I was such a sponge. I would take anything. I was like, this stuff works. Just give it to me. Right. So I would do anything. So I took that class, and all I remember is going into Shavasana, and I don't remember anything else. And I remember coming out.
Huh.
But what I could remember was this deep experience of relaxation. I had never experienced relaxation like that before. And I realized it's because I was doing it all wrong, like most people, you know? Yoga Nidra and yogis, Swami Satyananda,
That's another hard name Nathan's not going to take on right now.
man, shut up, man. Shut up.
he says relaxation is an activity. So in order to experience relaxation, one has to witness it, right? Which you can still even, it's the same principle of meditation, witnessing, right? So I remember coming out of that experience and feeling like very westernized, very in my ego. Oh, that was amazing. I've got to teach it now. And I remember going to a specific yoga nidra class with an expert, and I remember going to her and saying, okay, I've done this. I got to teach it. It's got to be a part of my you know, what I'm offering. And she looked at me and she said, practice. And I won't lie, my ego was so pissed. I left that workshop like, oh man.
That made you angry, huh?
Oh yeah. How dare you not teach me so I can just go and teach somebody? Just naive and just thinking she would just give me a book. Here, read this book, right? So but I realized in that moment, because I was a seeker, I used my ego as my ally in that moment. I didn't realize I was doing it, but now I can look back and say that's what I did. And my ego went into, oh, I'll show her. Practice? Oh, I'm gonna practice. And I did. I practiced Mo every day for 10 months, 6 days a week at sunrise. 6 days a week for 10 months. Sunrise. No one could tell me nothing. I can honestly say those experiences, I can't even put them into words. Every time I can feel my whole energy just go right back there again. It was the most incredible. I don't even think, I think that was probably my first time really experiencing a Kundalini awakening, those experiences. I think, you know, my Kundalini awakening happened during my yoga practices, but I was also practicing so much. I don't think I really had a time to witness it, Mo. You know, I was going to yoga 27 times a month for 4 years at one point. Like I was addicted.
About practice.
I would see myself morph in the mirror. I've seen myself morph many times in poses. I never knew what it was. I just was like, this is trippy. But then I realized now when I bucked on Yoga Nidra, it gave me an opportunity to be still and to witness all of this integration that I didn't realize I was doing. Like, it's just incredible. But, you know, Satyananda, when he talks about Yoga Nidra, he says, you know, it really is about your neural pathways and cleansing them, cleansing these pathways. And he would say eradicating, you know, eliminating, getting to the root of whatever these symptoms, these ailments, he would say, are, whether they were mental, muscular, or emotional. And using Yoga Nidra to clear these pathways, to burn it, to get to the root of it, so that
was he also referring to the nadis as well? Those pathways as well?
That's
so
right.
the neural pathways, the nadis,
They're all pathways.
Yeah.
Right? They're all pathways of psychical energy at the end of the day, right? There are all these different ways of approaching the brain, cleansing the brain is what I've come to realize. So that's why you know, he says Yoga Nidra can reverse your karma, and it can. I realize it now. I'll be honest with you, I don't even feel like the same person. Sometimes people will come to me from other eras and I have no idea who they are. They'll have to remind me and take me back to that time, because I feel like I really cleansed a lot of my being. I really just cleansed. I don't want to use the word negative, but I'll say energy that didn't serve me anymore.
Or like karmic goop.
Yeah, you know, just this stuff that just doesn't serve you anymore. You know, like, so that's what it does. But at the same, you know, I always break it up too. There's a body aspect of this practice where you can really relax. And, you know, I tell people, like, for myself, people ask me, are you a nap person? I'll say, no, I don't nap. But at the same time, if I feel like I want to take a nap, I'll go do an hour of Yoga Nidra, because I know it's going to give me that deep relaxation that you've never experienced in your life. Tranquility, serenity, all of those words, they really are something, but you can't experience them doing something. The doing has to be done. There's no, you have to retire to experience these qualities at the deepest subtle level, you know? So that's kind of, you know, that's the body, you know, 1 hour of Yoga Nidra is equivalent to 4 hours of deep sleep.
It's the equivalent of 4 hours of deep sleep.
That's the body part of it, where you can really restore, renew, rejuvenate. You can really, really experience that. And then while that's happening, because God's a genius, there's a whole psychical cleanse happening at the same time, where you are literally, you know, what people experience in meditation, where they sit and their whole world comes up and they're like, they get frustrated and they start to cry. And, you know, it's like the onion symbology, right? You know, the onion, where you're always working, going through the layers of the onion. In order to get to the core of the onion, you're probably bawling your eyes out, right? You know, onions make you cry at the end of the day, right? It's the same thing when you're sitting in meditation, because you don't know how to use your mind in this way. You don't know how to use that witnessing energy in this way, that when you're confronted with the wave, you drown, because, and you're drowning in your own emotion, you know, but because you haven't been taught. Whereas in Yoga Nidra, these same waves are coming, but you're so relaxed, your body's asleep, it's already gone to unconscious. But there's that part of you that's awake. There's that witnessing energy that's awake. You know, and it never changes. You know, that self-awareness, that witnessing energy, it never changes. Right, Mo?
Never changes.
Never changes.
Unchanging.
It's unchanging. So when all of these changes are happening, rather than Pat in the world, the ego world, that's like, oh my God, I can't handle this, I'm not doing it right, what's happening to me?
Yeah.
She's asleep, she's gone, she's dead in Yoga Nidra. So the witnessing energy has an opportunity to just witness these waves. And what are you going to do? Nothing.
Hence the saying, whatever happens, let it be okay.
That's right. Because that part of you that doesn't let it be okay is asleep.
It's asleep.
Do you get me, Nathan?
Yeah.
So, you know, you learn how to, I don't want to say quiet, because nothing goes quiet in meditation, but you learn how to rise to that awareness, so that you can experience it without getting involved, so that you can be okay with whatever is happening. It's a rise of awareness, you know, but we haven't been taught how to do it, you know, right, Mo?
Yeah, you're right. You're totally right. Wow.
This is why people are so frustrated. You know, I feel awful sometimes. There he is. Go for it, brother.
His finger went up again.
There it is.
You're now the finger guy, because he's never done this before. So this is new. Maybe this is growth. Just like, use my finger. I got something to say or something to ask. Go for it.
Every time I raise my finger, it's like another 20 minutes. I'm like, all right, well, here's Nathan's dumb comics section. All right, go ask your little question, Nathan. Ask a little question. What my question was?
Question. No, you have good questions though, Nathan. Relax yourself.
You do.
You know, not everyone's looking at you like you're a punk. Ask your little question, buddy. Come on, get to it.
Shut up, man. Shut up. Pronounce sea salt, nigga. I don't know.
Shut up. Paramahamsa Vishwananda, say it, buddy.
Anyways, so you said during the yoga meditation, you said you fall asleep. Do you actually fall asleep? You just, or do you actually have to do like moves? Because like when I notice about myself, when I have like really deep transformations in my body or in my mind, I'm usually asleep, and it happens through dreams. And is it kind of the same thing like that when you do the yoga meditation? Or am I just totally off?
No,
I think Patricia's talking about deep sleep. You know, they talk about the states of consciousness. They have the waking, the dreaming, the dreamless sleep, which is the sleep that Patricia's talking about, and then Turiya, and then Turiya Tita. So Patricia is referring to deep sleep, and she can continue on with what you actually mean by this
because
dreamless deep sleep.
Right. Satyananda says, if you are dreaming or you have a psychic vision, then you're asleep. You're not practicing Yoga Nidra. There should be no dreaming. You know, it would take a lot of practice to remain awake while you are going to sleep. Have you ever been taught to be awake while you're supposed to be asleep? Right? Right? Right. So there is a stage of wakefulness, and then you go into in between. We call it reverie. It's the borderline between alpha and beta, alpha,
Alpha,
theta,
theta,
delta.
delta.
Right. So it's between alpha and theta, right? And that's where people can get lost. And if they stay in theta, then they're just dreaming they're dreaming for the whole time, right? It's about being on the borderline between wakefulness and sleep. So the body is going to keep going deeper, deeper until there's no more body, right? It's just subtle now because you're asleep. But you will, with practice, it's like a muscle. It's like building a muscle in your mind. Once you've found the right voice to connect to, you train your hearing, your audible experience. This is why Yoga Nidra can make you become more clairaudient. You can actually hear things in other realms that other people can't hear. And it's because it's in the subtle layers of your existence. You can, right? But it takes practice. So after a while, you know, when you're first doing it, Nathan, you will fall asleep, because just trying to get the mind to do this is exhausting for the ego and the mind, right? So they're just going to go to sleep. But with time, there are certain words, there are certain ways that will awaken that witness in the midst of the body going deeper and deeper and deeper. When those, if you can, you know, it's like in the class, people will be awake and they think, there'll be so many people that think they're awake the whole time and they're asleep, like out. And they'll be like, oh yeah, I was awake the whole time. No, you weren't. You were out cold, buddy. You know, it's just that maybe you didn't allow that part of you to go with it. You know, it's like a natural flow. Some people can use their consciousness to disrupt the natural flow of what should happen, what could happen, you know? So you are going to fall asleep at first. You're going to dream at first. You are. But the more you practice, the voice and the mind, that audible connection, they start to be like this, so that the mind is going to be awake, and then it's going to be asleep, and then it's going to be awake and awake and awake and awake and awake and asleep, and then awake and 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 asleep.
And which we call lucid sleep.
Right.
Yeah. Lucid sleep. Can you stay lucid while you're sleeping?
Exactly. That's what it is. It's so interesting. But you can understand why this work is a calling, you know? You can understand. You really do become the ocean in this. You really do. You feel all of the undercurrents of life, of your own existence, your own being, every experience, every trauma. Mo talks about this all the time in his work. Every trauma, every collective experience, you know, everything, right, Mo? All the
Everything.
mud, the darkness, the rapes, you know, I hate to use those words, but it's the truth.
It's the truth.
It's the truth.
Much as how, no matter how disturbing they may sound, it's the truth. All that stuff comes up.
And you are a part of that.
Yeah.
You've helped.
Collective consciousness.
You've
collective
made
unconsciousness. Yeah.
You know, but at the same time, what is the misconception with the wakefulness and the sleep part is, in order for us to grow from our unconscious, you know, we need the unconscious. That's why I love Satyananda. He says nothing is ever unconscious, because at some point the unconscious is going to become conscious.
Unconscious.
So there's no such thing as the unconscious, right? But in Yoga Nidra, you do have to have those moments of sleep so that you can go gather. You got to go there. You got to go to that unconscious place to whatever is there, whatever that is for you, whatever that quality is, whatever that wisdom is, whatever that prana is, whatever that communion is, whatever that is, whatever that karma is, whatever that samskara is, whatever it is, we have to be somewhat unconscious to evolve consciously, you know? So the idea that you're going to stay awake the whole time is a myth. You can't.
Mm.
If you're awake the whole time, then you're not receiving. You know what I mean? It's like we do literally have to absorb, right, Mo?
Yeah,
We
yeah.
really,
You have to
we
absorb.
have to absorb,
Hmm.
you know? So that's what Yoga Nidra is in a really roundabout way.
That's amazing. I can
Okay.
stay so lucid within my sleep that I can actually witness myself snoring.
Me too. You can hear it. You can
You can hear
feel
it.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, holy shit, I'm snoring right now. And I'm totally aware that I'm sleeping while I'm watching as the witnessing myself snore.
Is that also astral projection a little bit, or like it's just totally lucid dreaming across the board?
That's just lucid dreaming. Or that's lucid
Okay.
sleep. Lucid dreaming is being awake within your dream. Lucid
Hmm.
sleep is being awake within your sleep. Within your dreamless sleep.
Okay. All right.
In yoga, we call it pratyahara. Okay.
Pratyahara.
Pratyahara. So there are 8 limbs of yoga. And this is what I've
I
spoken
was
about.
about to. I was going to ask you about that. I was just waiting for an opportunity to ask you about the 8 limbs of yoga.
There you
Oh, yeah,
go.
perfect segue.
It's the 8 limbs of yoga. Okay. The 8 limbs are yamas, Nyamas, asana, pranayama, pratyahara, Durana, dhyana, Samadhi. Right? Yama. This is what I love about yoga. I'm like, God is so amazing. Like, just amazing.
Nathan, you're amazing.
It's amazing, right? Like in the West, you know, the body is the easiest vehicle to explore the mind, explore yourself, the body, right? So in yoga, we start on the 3rd limb. In the Western world, we start in the 3rd limb, which is asana. That's body. Okay? Asana means posture. Yamas and Nyama, the first 2 limbs. The yama is awareness. Nyama, so you could say the yama is our, first you're going to have these personal moments of awareness when you're practicing yoga. Why, you know, this used to happen to me a lot. I used to realize where my weaknesses were in my practice. And really, it was just all in my head. You know, where I didn't push myself, why I didn't stay in this pose a little longer, why did I give up a little bit here, you know, why didn't I stay for 6 breaths, why did I only stay for 3, you know,
Mm.
those things are all very mental. It's all a part of who I am, my inherent tendencies, who I am. Okay,
Ego
so
stuff.
you start to have these very personalized self-awareness experiences when you start practicing asana, because you're recognizing your strength, your confidence, your weaknesses, you're seeing it all, right? Through this movement.
Mm-hmm.
And as you start to do that, then you start to notice it in the world. You got to notice it with yourself first, and then you start to notice it in the world. Why is the sky blue? Why do they speak to each other like that? Why is all these things start? So all of these worldly social awarenesses happen. Okay, this is what happens first. You start practicing yoga, you start questioning yourself, then you start questioning the world. There's the first 3 limbs: yama, nyama, asana. Done. Okay, but as you're practicing the asana, you're using the breath. Hatha yoga really means inhale and exhale. Hatha is ha is the inhale, ta is the exhale. Hatha. Okay? So that's linking the breath with the movement. So when you start practicing the movement, warrior 2, warrior 1, sun salutation, you're linking the breath with the movement. There's the 4 asanas: yama, nyama, asana, pranayama. Got them. Now, this is really where most people stay. Okay? You could stay here for the rest of your life and it's enough. Wouldn't you say?
Mm-hmm.
To be conscious in the world, aware, these 4 are enough. After pranayama, we start moving into pratyahara. Now, this is where pratyahara and Durana, these are the 2 that rarely get touched, popularized, because what we spoke about before, timing.
Mm-hmm.
But it's what Mo's talking about, where you said lucid sleeping. I can hear myself snoring. That's pratyahara. Pratyahara is the withdrawal of the senses. So when you are lucid sleeping, the senses aren't involved. They're gone. They're dormant. You've put them to bed. So, but there's still this witnessing energy because you've worked that muscle, Mo. That that muscle's strong. I'm aware and awake. My witnessing energy never changes. That's pratyahara, the withdrawal of the senses. When the senses are gone, the senses are our greatest distraction. They're our greatest distraction. Isn't the ego always distracting us? Right? That's the ego thrives in the senses.
Mm-hmm.
So if the senses now are gone to sleep, that's the 5th limb, pratyahara.
So that's the 5th limb.
That's the 5th limb. You've learned to lucid sleep. Now, what do you do besides hear yourself snore when you're lucid sleeping? Yoga Nidra will teach you how to now use Durana. Durana is focus, concentration. Wouldn't that, think about it. Think about it. How are you supposed to focus and concentrate with the ego and your senses constantly distracting you?
Mm-hmm.
How is it going to work?
How's that going to work? Mm-hmm.
So when you get to pratyahara, that lucid sleeping, there's like a clarity. It's like a clear conscious pathway. It's like you've created a path for something new. And Yoga Nidra starts to give you new ways to start using your mind to focus and concentrate on your own energy, your samskaras, your trauma, your karma, your archetypes, all of these things. This is what we're supposed to use our focus and our concentration on so that we can heal ourselves, man. Okay? When we get there now,
Yeah,
listen.
you got number 5, right?
Yeah, Pratyahara was 5.
And then the 6.
Durana is 6. So now in Yoga Nidra, you're establishing 6. How to focus and concentrate without my senses distracting me. So I can really see this for what it is, and not see, I can really feel this for what it is. And a lot of the times, if we were to have real pure instinctual feelings, we would be okay with it. But too often we use our senses to react rather than just be. Nidra, Durana teaches you how to be. Just focus and be with that. Even if it hurts, even if you're crying, even if you don't like it, even if you're dark, I'm going to teach you how to focus and be with it so that it doesn't affect you like how you've allowed it to affect you your whole life. Okay? So now you've woken up from Durana. You're at 6.
Durana.
What's next?
Okay.
Dhyana meditation. Now you're ready. So think about it, Nathan. After everything I just said, don't you think you would approach your meditation practice much differently?
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's like it's like you've cleared out all the weeds out of the garden. All the weeds are gone.
Feels like he grew some wings and started to fly. You know,
he just wants to fly.
That's right. But now you can. I'm so glad you used that analogy because you've risen. Think about the eagle. The eagle rises and soars above it all. Right?
The thing about Nathan, sorry to cut you, that one time we were talking about Black Adam, and all he talked about was Hawkman. That's all he talked about throughout the whole entire thing. But this never happened. This wasn't you?
No, that wasn't right. I don't watch that movie. I don't watch DC.
Probably some other
is
flying guy. Sorry about that. I thought it was you.
But yeah, you know, you're right. You're right on. To fly, to be able to soar over this stuff that you would allow to impact you negatively. Now you can just look at it for what it is and recognize, okay, it's a part of me, but I don't have to identify it. I don't have to identify with it. You know, I don't have to make it a part of my everyday experience. You know, you've just learned how to use it differently. And you know, this is my one of the last things, well, not last, but just a really important part of it, what I learned in India. When you are going through, when the Pratyahara clears everything, Pratyahara is the withdrawal of the senses. It clears everything so that you can really look at the garden and see what seeds you've planted, what are growing, what's not growing, what's stagnant, what seeds do you need, what seeds do you not need. It's time for you to clean up. You can tend to your garden. When you're doing that, you know, this is what I learned in India. And I asked the guy this on Saturday when we were talking about meditation. So I'll ask you guys. When you're at work, okay, say you just you're at your job. When you're at your job, how do you work?
When you're at your job, how do you work?
When you're at work, how do you work?
Nathan, I don't think Nathan's ever worked a job in his life.
Shut the fuck up.
Not as long as I've known you. Every time I'm asking, when are you going to get a job? So this might be a hard one for him. But go first. See if you can guess it.
How do you work? When you're at work, how do you work?
Efficiently, to the best of my abilities.
Okay.
Yeah, Morgan. How do you work, Morgan?
How do you work, Mo?
I just work mindfully. I just work. I work. I'm aware of everything that's happening, what's present. In most cases, there's a crisis that's happening, and every time those things come up, I just address it with mindfulness.
Now
right?
imagine
I don't get caught up in it. I work with it, but I don't get caught up in it.
Now imagine we all had a boss, right? How would you work if your boss was standing beside you all day? How would you work?
Well, that changes everything.
How would you work?
I wouldn't. I feel like I feel like I was being micromanaged the whole time. Just couldn't do it.
You feel pressured. You feel like you always have to be on. You have to feel like you have to perform.
Yes.
Effectively every minute of that.
There it is.
Moment. Yeah, that your boss is standing right. Yeah.
Yes. See?
Awkward.
When I said that to my teacher in India, he said, "Excellent, you're a genius." Right? I said, "Why?" And he made me understand. When we're in Pratyahara, when you are in lucid sleeping and the ego's gone to sleep, right? What actually comes to the forefront is this: the commander, your frontal cortex. That usually goes to sleep when we go to bed, right, Mo? The commander, he's gone to bed. In Yoga Nidra, the ego goes to sleep and the commander wakes up. So if the commander is awake while you are sorting through your garden, that means the commander is on your shoulder the whole time as you're sorting through your garden. And this is what he said to me in India. In that moment when the ego goes to sleep and the commander is awake, you are now the boss. So now you're standing over your employee, which is my inner world. I'm standing over my employees. In this case are my trauma, my karma.
Yeah.
These are my employees.
Yeah. Trauma.
Doesn't that make sense?
That makes sense.
And they have been bossing us around
the whole time.
This whole time. Right? It's not until you get into that lucid sleeping, I'm awake, I can hear myself snoring, my body is out cold, there's no ego here because it's asleep with the body. That's when you become the boss. And that's when you stand over yourself. It's almost like a 5D experience. You are up here now, healing yourself, looking down at Patricia, the employee, and I'm going to fix her now. So that when you come back into the world, you have a new operating system. Make sense?
That's gotten Nathan's attention to the point where he's like halfway up. He's never done this before.
I would like to sit up, but Morgan Morgan's like, yo, you need to sit down for.
Hey! You don't reveal the politics to everyone who's going to be watching this. Okay, that's between me and you. That's our agreement. Okay, buddy. Get back to laying down, buddy. Do your job as I stand over you.
Exactly.
Make sure you do your job.
You literally are the computer, the software, the IT that's come to fix it.
The IT guy.
Some people are 90s or and what was the I had a good joke. I messed it up. Sorry, go on.
That's okay.
On. It's all good.
But do you understand how you go from this Pat to your highest
self?
Your highest self. You know, and this is where Sankalpa is so important, because that's your mustard seed. Where are you going to plant that mustard seed in the landscape of your inner garden? What is that? What is going to, you know, that's why New Year's resolutions don't work, because it's nothing. It's not, it lacks direction. It lacks everything.
Seed's not planted.
Seed's not planted. So this is where Yoga Nidra is very, very, very special. But you can also understand it's not for the faint of heart. You have to have courage to go to turn your inner light on and look at all your stuff. It's not easy.
It's not easy. No.
And it never ends. That's the thing too. It never ends.
You know, that's important that you brought that up, because some would argue that it can end. Can you go deeper into that? Why it never ends, or based on personal experience, or based on the experience of the masters, and that this is an ongoing thing?
I say it's an ongoing thing because
Nathan just had his finger up again.
I saw that.
Yeah, you saw that too, right? I was going to ignore it, but go on. Please go on, and then Nathan get his point in there.
I just think sometimes I don't think this world is conducive for us to really fly, as Nathan would say, you know, and also too, like maybe too, because just going to India and being around gurus and seeing sadhus and how they live, and only the ego thinks it's done, you know, only the ego thinks it's done. And that's what I realized, like, these guys in India, they've been doing this, like, they left their families to go. My guru left his family as a young sannyasin to go live in a cave. He did it. He did it for like, and it's like, I don't know. I don't know if it's like this.
What just? Yo, were you? I thought you were flying.
No, there's a fly.
Like, yo, maybe he can fly.
I'm so sorry.
What was that?
It was a fly. It was a fly. Sorry. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to.
I thought this guy caught Kundalini just now.
You know why too? It's not that it doesn't end, but like I read the other day, he's like one of my favorite gurus, Maharishi, and he says, you're practicing all of this stuff so that you don't have to practice anymore.
You're practicing all this stuff so that you don't have to practice anymore.
Like you're practicing all of this meditation and you're doing all of this so that you don't have to do it anymore. And it's because, like what you said, you're just you are the awareness. You know, I've had my teachers to remind me, so what if you didn't get up and meditate this morning? So you are that. You are that's what you do. It's how you live. It's how I'm always meditating. I know what it is now. It's just my life. That doesn't mean I don't make time for practice, but at the same time, I can't always feel like it's not enough because I didn't today. You know what I mean? I have to, why would I be doing all of this then? If it wasn't meant to become a part of my actual living experience, you know? Sometimes it's you know, in yoga, they say too, you know, teachers teach what they need to learn the most.
Teachers teach what they need to learn the most. Okay.
Yes. You know, that's why yoga is called practice. It's always a practice. It's
That's a
always,
practice.
always. But I know, yes, once you take the glasses off, you know, you can't put them back on. You know, it's over.
Hmm.
I don't know. Maybe it's just also the student in me, you know, the one who loves to learn. Like, I don't want to stop learning.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't want it to be done. You know, that's kind of how I look at it too.
Hmm.
And then I just feel like we don't know what death is, you know, and death is a whole other thing.
Well, I would argue that. I think I know what death is.
I don't. I don't.
Yeah,
I think
brought a little
I,
scary thought in the center of my chest. Yeah, but that's a whole different
I think we've got the
matter.
tip of the iceberg, but I think there's a whole, you know, that we just will never understand until we get there.
Hmm.
But yeah. So Yoga Nidra's been my vehicle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But according to with the 8 limbs, I think you got to 7. What was the
Oh,
8?
the 8 is Samadhi.
Is Samadhi. Yes.
And you know, that there's more muscle work there, you know, because again, yes, equanimity is not easy to achieve. You know, equanimity is hard. It's
And
a
just
very, go
no, I was
ahead.
going to say, just give a brief description, a brief definition of Samadhi, at least from the yoga perspective.
Absorption.
Okay.
Absorption. You know, those moments when I would morph, I would see myself morph. I've morphed into the Sphinx twice, where I saw my whole being, literally. The only thing that stayed the same were my eyes.
Did you say the Sphinx?
Yeah.
I swear I must have. I think I had a conversation with you years ago where I had a vision where I saw you as one of the Sphinx,
There you
a very long time ago.
go. Yeah.
Interesting.
I
Wow.
think that's what I told you. Yes. And you had told me that you had the same vision. Yes.
Interesting. Yeah.
That was something, you know, and that's why I knew that the witnessing self never changes because the eyes never change.
Never changes.
I saw the whole thing, the whole morph, you know. So I don't think that, you know, again, I couldn't describe Samadhi. I've been there, but I can't describe it. It's impossible to describe.
Hmm.
I will say when I can still remember what it felt like moving from gross to subtle. I remember that vividly.
Hmm.
And I actually related death to it because I thought in that moment I was dying,
Oh,
whatever that was.
is this the experience that we talked about? I think it was 2 years ago, maybe 3 years ago when we went walking. Where is that what you were describing?
Yes. I felt like I was in a coffin. I know I wasn't though. I was in my bed. But my spirit, I could feel my body shaking, can like shaking so hard, and I could feel my whole being leaving the body. Like it was this like, and I remember always thinking if someone opened the door and looked at me, was I shaking in my bed? Or was that just a spiritual on another level experience? Like I really do wonder. My mom said there would be times when she would look and she'd be like, you were like out, like and not sleeping out, like I knew you were just not here. I was like, oh wow,
Mm-hmm.
that's intense. But yeah, just those moments of that transition, I think I got a taste of it for sure. But it's strong. That it just felt like I was being shaken to my core to get whatever needed to get out of my body. That's the best way for me to describe it. And I just kept relating it to a coffin. I felt like I was in a coffin. And
Hmm.
Beetlejuice, you know, Beetlejuice, when they knock on the coffin and the coffin starts going, that's what it felt like. That's what it felt like
Yeah.
that.
So you're saying when you're feeling that the physical body wasn't maybe the physical body wasn't doing anything, that was all just the spirit?
I think so.
Interesting.
I don't, because if you think about it, Mo, if my body was doing it, there would be a part of me that was awake.
Hmm.
There would be a part that was awake
That'd
if
be
my body was doing it. So that's why I don't think my body was doing it, because I don't remember being conscious I think I was super conscious. I don't think I was conscious.
Conscious, but super conscious. Tapped into the super conscious mind, right?
I think so.
Interesting, interesting.
Just like when you were talking before about, you don't know who's going to come to your class and have the breakdown. Remember we spoke about that.
Yeah.
Remember it happened to me with one of our mutual.
Akeem. Oh yeah, people know about
Yes.
Akeem, our famous Akeem.
I can see that happening.
Oh, Akeem had a full-on Kundalini
Kundalini.
at a yoga nidra. And this was one of the first times I met him.
Yeah, I think it was, yeah. You knew of him, but I think it was the first time you met him in person or he came to your class.
Yep.
Yeah, and he jogged to your class from somewhere. I don't know where he came from, but he jogged all the way to your class, and I think he jogged back.
Buddy.
He doesn't live close, like from where you were located at the time. He doesn't live close. I don't even know how he did this. Akeem is a special guy.
Yeah, you really helped me a lot with that, Mo, because that was the first time I'd really witnessed someone have an experience, like an episode. It was an episode. But
here's the thing too, which is funny about that. I did Nathan was a part of this too. We did breath work with one of my other friends and colleagues. And I did 3 sessions with her. Nathan came and he did one, and Anthony and a few other people. Akeem did one too. Akeem, Nathan, Anthony, Akeem's roommate, and I feel like I'm missing from one other person, and myself. And all 3 times that I did this breath work, same thing which happened to Akeem, I break out into spasm, a full body spasm. Yeah, the worker didn't know what to do. The facilitator didn't know what to do. I was just like, don't worry. What's wrong with this guy?
It's the fly. It's the fly. I'm sorry.
I swear you just had a spasm. You sure it's the fly?
Fly. I'm sorry.
They do breath work now. Wait till later, bro. This guy's like, what's wrong with you? Wait. Now I'm freaking out. Like, you good?
The fly's mad because no one answered my question. That's why. That's
what's your question?
We're here for you, bro.
Never mind. Just talk about the breath work. It's fun.
Jesus, that was like, you're freaking me out. Like, you good?
I'm good. It's the fly. It's the fly. I'm just joking. It's the fly. Sorry. Continue.
What's your question?
What's your question, bro?
I think you wait. You can wait, but still.
You sure? No, I think I was finished. I'm just saying that doing those breathwork workshops, I would break into spasms as well, because the spasms for me happened after, actually happened a year prior to having my full blown awakening, where I would have these spasms every day, and then and after the awakening, after the real big blowout, that dissipated. But when I do the breathwork exercises with Nirvana, was the name of the facilitator, I break out into a spasm, a full body spasm, all 3 times, all 3 sessions that we've done. And she said it more. I didn't know what to do. I was nervous. I didn't know what to do. So anytime it happens, just make sure my head is supported, and then you're good. Right. Yeah, just make sure that the pillows is under my head, and I'm aware of everything that's happening. I'm awake. I'm aware. I know it's happening. And she goes, "Does it hurt?" I'm like, "It doesn't hurt. I don't feel anything. There's not even a pleasurable or a negative sensation. It's just my body's reacting." And so I guess when it happened with Akeem a few years prior, I got a call. I got the call from you, right, Patricia? So this is what's going on, and whatever, what's the case, and whatever. And it's just like, oh, he's good. He's good. It's actually supposed to happen, depending on the body, the mechanism of the gross body of the human being, of the individual.
That's right.
It's going to happen. It's just the facilitator. Now that these can happen, is the facilitator trained on how to treat and how to support the person when it's happening? Because the person's not in any pain. The person's not. It's a natural thing that happens within yoga, and we just have to be prepared for it when it does happen. So with Nirvana, it was just like, no, don't worry. I got this. Just make sure my head's supported. I'm good to go. Yeah.
Yeah, that was it was intense, but I think it was good for me. It was good. I needed the experience, which you said to me, what are you going to do when someone who's had 20 odd years of experience has one of those?
And they come to your class, and then they're like, "Hey, I just want to do a class," and they break out in this body spasm. What then?
What then? And what I naturally was drawn to for Akeem, believe it or not, I don't know why, but I started to, every chakra has a sound. Vam, ram, lam,
Yep.
ham. I started to do all of those with him.
Oh,
And his body just started to settle and soften, and then he started to hum with me, and I was like, okay, he's back. And then when he sat up, he laughed his face off,
yeah. The hysterical laugh. Yep.
and I was like,
It's like, well, yeah, where's this all coming from?
yep.
Yeah,
And
the laugh.
some people in the class were like, whoa, and then other people were like, I want what he's on.
That's Candace. Candace was in the class. She says,
Yes.
whatever he's got, I want that. And they've been cool ever since. They still hang out to this day.
Yep. She had quite, I mean, we won't get into her experience, but she had quite a very powerful experience as well.
Oh wow. Okay,
This
okay.
work is a calling. It's a calling. You know
Calling.
it. It's a calling. You're either gonna bawl, you're gonna have a body thing, or you could even be pissed off. Some people are pissed.
Met those too. Met them, yeah. They're pissed.
It's just what it is.
Yeah. And then you have guys like Nathan who just singing, I believe I can fly all throughout the whole session.
Right.
R. Kelly fan.
No. My song, Fly Like an Eagle.
Oh, that's your song, eh?
That's the song. I'm not going
I like that song.
Yeah.
So how would you describe Samadhi, Mo?
Well, it depends on which level of Samadhi we're talking about, because there's different levels of that. So Samadhi at its basic level, it means trance, like meditative trance, right? So if you fall into a meditative trance, you're in a state of some level of Samadhi. But Samadhi can go all the way up to Nirvikalpa Samadhi, which is the full-blown non-dual state of being. And so it can go all the way up to that, where you realize, have the full realization that you are the divine itself, and everything that's happening is included within that divine. So Nirvikalpa Samadhi can go all the way up to that. But the goal is to achieve Sahaja Samadhi, which is where it becomes a permanent state of being, where you carry that into your everyday life with ease, no effort. That's just the way, as you move throughout the universe, or throughout your state of reality. That's just the way of being at that point. So different levels of Samadhi. So what you mentioned about Samadhi, it's one part of it, and then there's more to that. It keeps going all the way up to and then there's one even after Sahaja Samadhi, which is what is it called again? But at this level of Samadhi, it only happens at the moment of death, of the actual physical death. And that oh gosh, what is it called again? But that's another level of Samadhi that you go into at the moment of death.
Right.
Yeah. So Samadhi's like, when you look up Samadhi, there's so much information on it, and people have broken it down to different levels and different labels and all that, just to be clear of what happened at each stage of Samadhi. So it's very interesting to keep that in mind, because before Nirvikalpa Samadhi, you're still aware of the objective. So there's an objective and there's a subjective that's aware of the objective. And at the moment of Nirvikalpa Samadhi, the subjective and the objective have merged at this point. And it's all become unity, one, which you get that word again, yoga, which means to yoke with the divine.
That's right.
Yeah.
Which I have found so interesting, because I started at yoga, and now I have found, when I read certain books, or like Richard Rudd's book, The Gene Key. Gene Keys.
Is that what the Gene Key?
The Gene Keys. The last gene key is yoga.
Oh.
And I remember reading this whole book like, oh, I can't wait to get there. What is it? And I realized a few times than most now, it's yoga. It's about that yoking. And he says it really well too, what you were saying with that non-dual, is he says you transcend the law. You transcend the law of polarity. You know, you
transcend the law of polarity. Yeah.
Now transcended that pole. You are there aren't opposites to you anymore. Like what you used to always say, every lie is the truth, every truth is a lie, right? It's the same thing, you know, just being able to. And I think what happens is, you know, everything is on the same pole, rich, poor, hot, cold, all these things are on the same pole. And I think with practice and information and learning, and you gather, you know, your degrees change. and then eventually you come into the middle, and then the only way you could go is up from there.
Nathan's still fighting whatever's in the room. Bro, are you good?
Sorry, it's a big ass fly. I don't. I'm sorry. I'm really sorry. It's just
this big ass fly. I don't see anything.
It's really big. It's really big. I'm so sorry. I'm trying to pay attention. This is buzzing near my ear like every 5
Look
seconds.
how you manifested that fly today.
Yeah.
Look how you manifested that fly.
Man's that's very interesting with this guy. Yeah, but as I was trying to say before this guy distracted me, but you hit it right on the nose, Patricia, when you talk about the polarities, when you transcend the polarities, because enlightenment is the freedom of all opposites.
That's right.
Right, and when a person experiences the freedom of all opposites, you've now transcended into what they call non-dual Tiriyatita, and that's why that is so important to free yourself from all opposites, to free yourself from all polarities, to free yourself from subjective and objective, to free yourself from left and right, hot and cold, male and female, and the list goes on. Hot and cold,
pain, pleasure,
pain and pleasure,
salt
rich
water,
and poor,
fly or no fly, whatever. I don't know. Right, all that. So when people ask what's enlightenment, that's what it is. Right. Freedom of doubt, the freedom of polarity, the freedom of opposing views, the freedom of all of that. And when you realize that, when you're free from all that, you realize that everything is perfect as it is,
and there's no more suffering.
And there's no more suffering.
That's right.
And Nathan's not suffering right now with his imaginary fly in the room.
It's not imaginary fly. It's a real fly. Okay. It's one of those flies that has like certain things attached to it. You know, it's really
what does it have attached to it?
It's like little streamers or whatever. It's a big fly. It's got some shit on it that I've never seen before.
It's probably just representing your karma.
Is it a wasp?
No, it's not a wasp. It's
not a bee. It's just an actual fly, like a regular fly.
A really big ass fly.
A horse fly.
Maybe, yeah.
Maybe he's like a what?
No, I've heard of them. I've seen them. Yeah, they're really big. It's really big and annoying. I don't know. I have a cat here. She's not doing shit. Kind of fucking.
Is that what cats are supposed to do? Supposed to take care of flies? So I thought it was just.
You're supposed to do something. At least something. Like at least give me one of these. Like
Well, your cat is doing yoga nidra right now. So your cat is trying to reach a higher plane of existence. So don't worry about your cat. Your cat's taken care of. Your cat's looking at you saying that's a lazy fuck right there.
That's incredible.
That's great though. That's great. Nathan, you got anything before this fly comes back to get you?
So I was talking about clearing the nadis. So it's an ever-going process, right? As you said before, clearing the nadis, right? So it never ends. So it's just like, so you're constantly in this lifetime, or as many lifetimes as you have, you're constantly seeking out traumas in your body, and they always come. They always come like back and stuff. You're like a detective just trying to solve cases every day in your body.
Look at it this way, Nathan. You bathe every day. I'm assuming you bathe every day, right? You wash your clothes on a regular basis. Do you ever complain that shit, I gotta take another shower? When does this end?
Sometimes it's like, I gotta do this.
That's why you got flies in your room.
Nah, it's not.
Like what?
I do it, but it's like
I never complain about this shit. I just do it. I got to shower. You just shower. I got to wash my clothes. I wash my clothes. And this is constant. This never ends. This is stuff that has to be done. I have to wash the dead skin cells off my body. I have to wash whatever my body's accumulated throughout the day. And we just continue I got to wash the sweat. I got to wash all that stuff off. And we do this consistently. It's the same thing when it comes to spiritual work, right? The stuff that never ends. There's always something to work on. There's always something, and you're always going to accumulate more, but hopefully at the stage lighter a sense of karma, but you're always accumulating stuff. Yes. Right? So you always have to constantly keep doing the work. Bruh!
It's not going to bite you.
It's challenging me, man. It's challenging me.
Challenging what way? Like,
I don't know. It's stuck with me. Start.
Sorry, Patricia, I think this guy just lost it. You know what's funny about this? I'm gonna be having it. I'm gonna be talking to Akeem about this, and we'll be laughing at your ass.
It's
It's just a fly, bro.
it's a big ass fly.
It's not a bee.
It's a
not
fly
bee.
though.
It's not gonna sting you.
Yeah.
But it's buzzing too close. It might fly in my mouth.
As long as we don't pick it up, we're good. As long as this doesn't end up in the episode, we're good. Like,
just let him chill. Let him find it.
Yeah. Be the witness. Whatever happens, let it be okay, bro.
It's fine when you're fucking in your house. There's no flies at all. Fuck you. Yeah, be the witness. Let it happen. No, I'm not. No, I'm in my ego state now. Fuck it.
You're like one of my boys. Like, so afraid of flies and whatever. It's like, yo, you act like a little punk. Like, man up right now. Like, man up.
No. I'm gonna let myself be who I am. I'm afraid of insects and shit. I'm okay to cry.
I didn't know this before, so this is known to me now. Yeah, I get it. Yeah, it's, you know, do what you got to do. If it doesn't look good on camera, I'm just telling you that.
Oh, it's gonna be funny.
Be you, but when we're on camera, like, yo, calm down, relax.
You know what? I'm gonna get a jar of bees and I'm gonna throw it in your face and let them circle around you and be like, hey, be in the moment. See what happens.
Yeah, but
you're gonna run.
We're talking about a regular fly.
All right.
And even then, even if you put a bunch of bees around me, I'd still be still, because I understand that as long as I don't bother the bee won't bother me.
Yeah, everybody says that.
Yeah, but it's because it's true, right? Yeah. First thing you do when you see a bee, I don't do that. It's chill. The bee just like, I thought you were a flower, and it's like, you're not a flower, and it keeps moving.
Yep.
That's all it is. Be one with nature, my friend. He hates it right now. See, look at him. Look at him. I can't wait to use this. I may make a whole segment just this.
Oh, I think that was
freaking out. I'll put underneath it Kundalini.
Yes, the way that he manifested this fly today.
Oh gosh.
We should make a segment out of this.
It's a whole segment.
A whole segment.
And put behind "I Believe I Can Fly" in the background. I'm telling you, it's hilarious. Man, gosh.
I believe I.
But Nathan, before you freak out again, do you have anything you'd like to add or anything you'd like to ask Patricia? We still have like 15 minutes left.
No, I got nothing at the moment. I'm just trying to defend myself. So
did you always have a fear of flies?
I've had a fear of insects my whole life.
And what happens when you see an insect, you jump? Or
I jump, I run. Yeah, I'm gonna run. Spiders are I can't stand spiders. Like, just
like my boy.
Nah, because the thing is, I had that so when I'd wake up, I would there is an actual condition, like I can't remember what it's called, but like I would wake up and I would see like a bug right in front of my face or on the wall or something. I can't remember what it's called, but it's an actual thing. Mm-hmm. And when I'd wake up in the morning, I'd see this big ass 5-pound spider, and I'd run out of my room, and it'd be weird, like every day for like a year, and then it just stopped.
Oh, that spider had a message for you.
Yeah, get out. I own this. Is my room. It's my house.
Originally, like, you can take it. Yeah, it's his spot, or his or her.
Yeah, right. I never liked insects. I never liked any of those things. I know it's an irrational fear, but like it's kind of not, because like, you know, through years of evolutionary evolution, like we're known to, like, you know, these things are dangerous, right? They can kill us at any moment. They're poisonous.
What, a fly?
I mean, it could spread disease. I don't know. Maybe it just ate some shit. Now it wants to fly on me. Maybe, and then it has a disease, like comes on my arm and it spreads throughout my body. And like, what are you gonna do? Now I'm the shit fly guy for the rest of my life. Just walking around. Hey, how you doing?
You know, Patricia, I hate to tell this guy that he's covered in microscopic creatures. Covered, right? Covered all over your body. Everything. You got microscopic creatures in your mouth. In your intestines. They live on you. They depend on you.
Yeah, I'm okay with it. They're fine. We had an agreement. We're good. Made some contracts. But this new guy, I don't trust him. And all the germs are in agreement with me. Okay, so that's where we are right now. So
I feel you. I feel you, bro. Well, before Patricia go, I wanted to ask Patricia one last thing in regards to the difference now, because when I met you, look at him again. Look at him.
I know.
Yo, this motherfucker! I swear to God. All right, sorry. Continue, please.
When, when I met you, Patricia, you were practicing and teaching Kundalini yoga.
No.
No,
Mm.
I have this wrong.
Yes.
You did jump into Kundalini yoga at some point, right?
No.
No. Oh, okay. Explain if you can tell us.
I
I
never
always thought
did.
you were a Kundalini yoga teacher.
No.
Oh,
I took it once, but
yeah.
I've never taught it. You know, it's a totally different yoga.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
it's a totally different. You don't learn it in your teacher training. You have to take a separate training for Kundalini yoga.
Mm-hmm.
But I never gravitated to it. No, I was always I started doing yoga because I got into car accidents. I got into 3 car accidents in 4 years.
Oh,
And
I
they were
remember
all
that. I
kind of,
remember you telling me that. No, that yeah, I
that's
wouldn't
right.
know.
They were
Yeah, I
all
didn't
like
know you.
divine intervention. So I the last one, no, the second one got me practicing and the third one got me teaching.
So when you were training in India, what kind of yoga was that?
It was everything. It was from cleansing to hatha to anatomy to ashtanga to meditation. We would do everything. So we would get up at 5 in the morning and we would cleanse. Some of that would be then
Yeah,
nadi,
the not yeah
the nadi,
nostril
the
alternate
neti.
nostril breathing. But there's another
That's
name
right.
for that, right? That's called what?
The who?
Because we call it alternate nostril breathing. But is there an actual term for that?
Analom Valom.
Okay.
Analom Valom. Yep. The yeah, some people do this.
Yeah. To activate to cleanse the Ida and the Pingala. Yeah.
That's right. To
Mm-hmm.
cleanse
Okay.
the hemispheres.
Yeah, of the brain.
So and you know they connect you, they synchronization, you know, the Ida is the sun, Pingala is the moon. So it synchronizes you. And it
Yeah.
really does. Sun salutation will synchronize you. It's called a sun salutation for a reason, so that the more you do it, you're up before the sun, so you can practice sun to salute it as it's coming, as it's rising. So everything is really to synchronize you with nature. So I guess, you know, I guess for myself, and I think, you know, at that time I was heavily relying on creative pursuits, thinking
Mm-hmm.
that that was going to stabilize my life, I guess. And God had another plan for me. And here I am 10 years later, teaching it and doing it full time. And it's now my life. And it's great. I'm so grateful for it. Yoga. You know, people always say things saved my life, but I don't want to say saved my life. It just, expanded my life.
Yeah. And recently, not too long, maybe about a year ago or maybe longer, how was the sessions that you were doing with Jungle Flower?
Oh, fantastic. She's such a beautiful spirit.
She is. Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, she had a beautiful space, which I love her so much for having the courage and just the heart to open it. And, you know, it's not easy to have a space, and especially in this economy. So I love her so much. And she was just so open to the idea of practicing yoga nidra and offering it. So we had, I think we did 4 sessions, 3 or 4 sessions, and anywhere from 8 to 15 people.
Mm-hmm.
And it was really nice. Beautiful. Akeem came to one and
Mm-hmm.
a few clients, and she would do the sound
Yeah.
and I would do the voice, and just really nice. You know, her energy is so peaceful, and Jungle is just beautiful. She's just wonderful.
Oh yeah.
She's
We go way
grounding,
back.
she's calming, and
Mm-hmm.
just her spirit, just a beautiful spirit. So I'm grateful for that collaboration, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
She is she's a very important, special person in our industry. We're very, very lucky to have her energy.
I gotta get her on here too at some point.
Oh, you should.
Oh
Oh,
yeah.
I would love to listen to that. She's so
Mm-hmm.
special. I love Jungle. Yeah.
And I think Nathan had something else. I think
Yep,
you're
he's
done.
No,
there.
that
I swear your hand was up. Just find a way
no,
to fly, eh?
pretty much, yes. Yes. Sorry.
It's all good, bro. It's all good.
Mm.
But any last words though? We're gonna wrap up just now.
for me.
This is your time to, for Nathan, because this is time to shine. His complaint is I don't get enough airtime. So it's like,
No,
well,
I already asked my
there's a
question.
chance, bro.
I already asked my question.
Yeah, but you don't know if it's gonna make the cut, right? So like, take advantage of it now, because all you're gonna see is you beating flies. Like,
That's amazing.
that's all you're gonna get if you don't say anything now.
I already asked my question. I'm good.
Okay. Yeah. So yeah, that's. I think we woke.
When are you coming out with another class? When are your classes? And when are you having another like sessions, classes? Where can we reach you? Well, let the people know.
Sure. Right now I currently teach at Yoga Tree in Toronto. At there's a location at Bay and Dundas. There's a location at Richmond Spadina. I also teach at another studio at Broadview and Danforth called Ebb and Flow, and another studio I just joined at called Circle Pilates at Bayview and Eglinton. So my IG, if you ever want to connect or if you want to come to class, I've got guest passes, so you can always hit me up. Even for those who are watching, if you ever want to take a yoga nidra class or a yin and meditation class or a hatha flow practice where we get nice and sweaty, you're welcome to hit me up. My IG or my Instagram is at Relax with Pat. And on my website, which you can also find on my IG, patriciamcpherson.ca, I have a little shop of MP3s, so you can get guided meditations and yoga nidra sessions, and I think they're from 99 cents to $4.99, and they range anywhere from 5 minutes to 60 minutes of practice. So yeah, it's really great. People still buy them today, which is really, really lovely. And really it's just an offering for people, because not everybody can come to class, not everybody can afford it, but this way you can practice at home and put it on any device. And I have so many mothers that share it with their kids, and it's wonderful. I've met children who listen to Yoga Nidra and they meet me in person and they look at me like, oh, the voice, that's her. It's incredible.
Ooh, I got one more question. So when you have a class, right? And there's a guy or gal who comes in like really egotistical and like it's like, yo, this is full of shit. Da, da, da. Do you try and make him cry?
No.
What do you do in that situation? First of all, have you ever had that happen to you? And what would you do? No. And if it did happen, what would you do in that situation? I've seen it. I've seen it go into satsang with spiritual teachers, and I've seen that asshole come in there and behave that way.
I always give people an opportunity to honor their energy, so I am never that person in front of the room saying you have to do this or you have to do that. I'm always the one in front of the room saying honor what's right for you. And I guarantee when you detach them from that embodiment, the ego is gone, because then they're left to their own vices. They're left to their own way of, okay, what do I do now? It's like they have nothing to judge. You know what I mean? It's like there's nothing to judge. So I think that's what I probably deal with more egos. I deal with egos. And I mean, it's not easy being a Black woman in front of a space in a very westernized, white westernized industry. So I do get people that will look at me and like I'll be setting them up for some blocks or something to lie on blocks or at the beginning of the class. And I've literally had people say, so what is this going to do? Well, hello. Well, it's nice to meet you too. And I'll just say, I plan on getting into that. I'll definitely offer some education so that you can have some idea of why we're doing this, but I guarantee you it's good. And at the end of the day, if you don't want to do this, you don't have to.
You don't have to.
If you just want to sit here, if you just want to lie down, you do whatever makes you feel, but don't for a second think that your energy is going to change what I'm here to offer, because it's not.
Yeah.
I'm guarded in that way with my work. And I also feel like God's prepared me enough to adapt and handle any spirit or energy that comes. I'm okay with telling people if this isn't for you, then maybe you should go to the next class.
Yeah. It's not for you. If
it's not for you, I'm not here to persuade you. I'm here to do a job. And not, you know, people aren't always, you can't please everyone. That's the best way to put it. You can't please everyone. So, I just, you know, sometimes they come in hard, but by the time they leave the class, they're like, oh, wow, thanks so much. You can see them, their humility, right?
Soften them up. Yeah. Oh, and I just wanted to say to, especially to our subscribers in India, all the places that Patricia has mentioned where she's facilitating, it's in Toronto, Ontario, in the country of Canada. So yeah, you may not be able to get to those classes, but you can always go to her website and purchase any of her her audio in regards to yoga nidra. So just to let you all know that's available out there. So, but yeah, and Nathan, yeah, and you just need like maybe like a can of Raid or something.
Yes.
It's not that. And I do take showers to let everybody know. I wash my ass. All right, leave me alone.
It's too much info. Like, I was just gonna automatically assume that you do those things anyway.
They gotta. People gotta know. They gotta know.
Flies exist. They exist anywhere.
I don't think I've ever heard a podcast name describe the type of podcast that this is ever. Okay. If this podcast is not called Enlighten Up, I don't know what to say. It's the perfect name for this show. I'm so glad you're a part of it, Nathan. Like, you
yeah, he makes this whole thing what it is. Like, I don't know what I'm gonna get out of Nathan. Like, this is the first time I saw him fight a fly. Like, I've never seen that before. Like, ever. I see people try to fight bees, but flies? No, I haven't seen that in the way how this guy reacted. So that was beautiful to watch.
Incredible.
Yeah.